Good morning, cool cats and kittens. Give me a second here. Let's get you your fancy opening. Let me turn on the computers, the internets, and we'll be good to go. Let me get some fancy openings going for you here. Get you some cool tunes. What's that? Well, this is what we got. Let's turn the music off. Let's do our 30-second count. All right. Well, that's enough then. That's enough, I said. All right. Good morning. Let's start with the basics and let's go from there. I want to check something for you guys, though. I want to see if any of my levels moved or if the CTAs moved any of their levels. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble. I do want to see something, though. Just stay with me 1 second. Let me see if I can add anything here. Sometimes they change these levels, and if they change them this morning, I want to see if they did or not. And I'll tell you in a minute. 1 second here. And no, I couldn't have done this any faster this morning. So, let me just see something here and see what they have to say about it. Now, give me 1 sec. All right. Give me 1 second. That's not it. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this thing. I want to try one more time, and then we're going to call it. That might have it. And we'll see if they updated them or not. Because if they updated it, and they haven't, but All right, cool. No, they haven't updated them. All right, so same levels. All right, cool. Let's get to it here and knock this out and make the magic. Let me put this over here. I'm out of sorts. I was away for 3 days and 4 days. I'm a creature of habit. So when I'm out of sorts, it just screws with me big time. And let's get to this. So pretty much I felt that we were forming a inverse head and shoulders, and that's not the case at all. What we're doing is forming, looks like a failed H, and that looks to be the case here. So let's see if that's better. That's better. Looks like we're forming a failed H, but it seemed to me earlier today that we were forming this inverse head and shoulders, and that's clearly not it. It's, failed head and shoulders turn into failed H. I'll tell you what I don't like about it so far is that we're not undercutting. They did bounce me back up on some of the shorts, so I covered some of them. But the undercut, you need to undercut, and you didn't. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. So it's definitely an issue. And if there's too much background noise or too much white noise in the back, just let me know, because I have all the windows open. I was in North Carolina. I don't know how you people live up there. 28 degrees. I was freezing. My parents told me it was like, oh, it's 70 before you got here. Well, it's not 70 now, Mom. So anyway, so you're getting this kind of failed H pattern, right? And I really think that there are your levels that you would want to pay attention to this morning. I don't know. I don't think you're going to break down, but I think that what you're going to do is probably bounce pretty hard, actually. So what I need to do is just say that this is how I see it. Now, there's a couple different things that you could do here that I see, how I look at this. And let me just show you this so you can see it too. So if we go all the way back to here, and I'll beep that out in a minute here. Thank you. Hold on 1 second, guys. Freak is that button? There it is. It's the thing about blue light glasses. Sure, they block it, but they block everything. So that hourly, we're up. The one thing you do not want to break, and I'm not saying you're going to, but you do not want to break that low. Like if you break this anytime this week, you have a problem. You want to see when you're really going to have a problem if you break that VWAP low. So we have we're there. And now if we take that 10th as well, right, you'll say it, you're in the same spot. So I don't know anything or any reason why and I'm just going to leave that there so I have it. Yay. I don't know any reason why you'd break this, but if you do, it's a problem. This is a real problem. So like if you're in the Armageddon camp, we're definitely going to roll over. The sky is falling. Wah. Like your first wah level is here, then here. Then you can say, I told you so. You can, and you'll get an attaboy. So if we look at it from that standpoint, right? So that's one way to view some of this stuff. And what I want to do is I just want to show you what I think the real issue is. So in front of you is the volume low, the point of control, and the volume high, value low, value high, point of control. And that's from the peak. Now, what I think needs to happen is I think that this point of control needs to become point of control. That's what I think needs to happen. So this red bar will drop down when it exceeds that volume. As you can see, you're not that far off from it. If you drop a pin and just look at it, you're not that far off. So do we come back down to that level? And then does that become point of control? And if it does, because right now that's acting as like a weight pushing us underwater. And what you want is you want it underneath you. So it acts as like a ball pushing you up. This is the symbol for ball. And so that's really what we're looking for here. And you can see the difference. But what's also so fascinating about this level, and maybe not so fascinating, but if we just drop a line there for a sec, right? Okay. And then we come here and you'll see that that ties directly into here. So this begs the question of, do I have to come back and backfill down to that level? And I don't know. I think that I might have to. And, that's really how I see that level. And I think that's really what's going to happen, and then everyone's going to say, I told you the sky's falling. Everyone wants to buy when everything's going up, but when it's dropping, everyone gets scared. So then if you're going to take a look at the SPY, a couple things here, you'll see you're really right in the same area. That's 670. If we click there, and give me 1 sec to pull this stuff up to get you aligned. What is dropping? All right. 670 now is should be your put wall too, right? Yeah. So that raised up, and this is going to tie you directly into your put wall now. So that puts you like right here on your put wall, right? So your put wall's here. This is all in here. That's a lot to break, man. Like a lot. But you got right to your point of control, and you're right up here again. So I don't know. We can actually move this one up to 670, right? Put that right there. Yay. And the call wall's way up there. So I don't really see it as I don't really see it as a huge issue, but I don't know that you're going to get through this today. So if I had to say, like, hey, where could you get to? Maybe 683, maybe you can get back there. But I think what they're going to do is I think they're going to punish people off the open and scare them. All right. I really think that's where they're going with this. I think they're just going to scare them. So it is what it is. I don't really think there's much more to say about that, but I think that that's really where they're going. Let me just see one more thing if there's something else I could add here. Yeah, you have net sellers. You actually flip to negative here. So you're going to want to flip over this. And when you flip over this level, like the 680 level, you might be able to, you might actually accelerate if you flip over that. Just mark that off so that I remember that. So you might accelerate there. There's certain levels that you'll accelerate over, So I do like that. You're not falling out of bed. Let's go take a look at the Qs. I love when we can do stuff together. So again, we come down here. We have those same levels, yada, yada, yada. Let's start it all over so you can see how I got there. Let's drop it to the hourly. Let's click over. Let's go to the top of this and just drop a volume profile. Nothing nuts. Let's not get nuts. But again, you can kind of see where you're at, right? Where you're hitting that level. So, and all you're doing here is just gap filling, right? That's all you're doing. I mean, wow. So if you take a look here, 621, and then you're down here and all you're doing is retesting that level. I don't think it's much to, really worry about, but it is what it is. I hate rising wedges. Freaking hate them. But you see how this is starting to change? Your point of control is going to drop the longer you stay here, which is what we want. That's really what we want. But you can see that point of control is right here. So that 620, you don't really have much to go on. And again, if we did something like this and do this, and of course, that area is going to be very similar when we drop that down here, right? So it's the same area, right? 610, go look at the Qs real quick, see what we got. 630, 590. So I don't really see a real thing there. So we still got some pressure there. I don't really think that that's anything we have to overly concern ourselves with, to say the least. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Yeah, you're holding the one level already, pretty much, aren't you? So it's really how I say it. See how it's filling? I think you're stuck in there. I think that's okay. You actually want backfilling. So if we take a look at the NQ, very similar. And I don't see any reason for that to change, but you'll see it. Can't miss it. Same areas, same stuff. Go look at the 5. And you're getting a failed H, but it sucks. And the reason that I say that it sucks, let me clean all this off. Just clean it all off, man. Work with me. The reason I say it sucks is because you didn't undercut. If we undercut, I'd be happier, but we didn't. Pardon me. Let's take a look from Sunday on. Just take a look real quick. Tells you everything you need, right? Tells you everything you need. And the VWAP from that day, you can't close above it. It's also the value high area. Your point of control is lower, which is actually good. You actually want it lower. And keep breaking the value low. I'm just going to take questions on names because I could go through 1,000 names right now. There's literally I could go through 1,000 of them, man. There's so many that we could go over. Let me get a troll and give you something. Is this the good one? Let me go into this. The community opens again in 2026. So if you're interested, get on the wait list. 1 second here. I want to drop this in so that I have this. Sorry, guys. I'm such a creature of habit. Like people that know me, know I get cranky when everything's thrown off. I'm going to drop this in. So if you're having any issues at all, with anything at all, some people try to get in the community and they can't, or the thing, I put the thing there. I'll just drop that there. What do you got? Good morning. Amgen faux show. The Bears look good. So does that quarterback for Green Bay. I don't know what's going on with my Eagles. Amgen, yeah. Amgen, I did Amgen, and then I got bamboozled, run amok, hoodwinked. fell apart. Yeah, I don't think this has any choice but to go higher at this point. But, today's probably the day to look at that kind of biotech stuff because it's going to come in for some, because the market's just overbought. When you're 5 days here, I went through this, I think, in Saturday's video. I'm running out of titles too. I might just start calling them. This is Saturday's video. I'm running out of freaking titles. I can only say stock market crash or stock market melt up so many freaking times, but that's what the algorithm wants. But when you get up to here like that, you're due to pull back. It just doesn't mean that you're going to fall out of bed, just it's a pullback. Yeah, I do agree with you. I think this looks fantastic. I think biotech looks fantastic, brother. I really do. Descending channel and retest AXP. DD descending channel and retest. Do I care? I don't know that I care. I think I might care. I don't care. I thought I did. I don't. No, I wouldn't chase stuff like that. I think the earnings are great, but I wouldn't chase that. DD AXP. Yeah, the consumer's weak, right? Someone tell the consumer that the consumer's weak. If interest rates go down, the consumer gets better, right? All right, so interest rates drop, the consumer gets better, they make more money. It's kind of hard to not see how this does go higher. I would say that it's trading exactly like the market. So I don't know that there's a big hurry there. I don't know. AXP. So I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that. I really, I don't know what that is. W, man, work with me. I really like this trade. I think you and I are like the only people that really like this trade because I really believe that when they cut, when they get rid of the tariffs, which the Supreme Court, there's a really good chance they're going to. I look at this like it's definitely something that I want to get involved with. I also feel that way about RH that just keeps falling out of bed. So again, I'm the only one, but I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. Like sometimes I'll do these trades and just wonder, like, why isn't everybody else doing this trade? And I don't have an answer to that. So I'm just going to hold off on it. But I don't have an answer for that. I'm pretty embedded in retail right now. So we'll see. Yeah, I am. So I'm leaning that way with your names, John. The AEO. I mean, everybody had to wear her special jeans here, right? It crushed. Everyone has to be in the special jeans. Like the stock's not really up that much since special jeans, and that they're selling more of them. So, and that influencers and the influencer stuff is getting bought like hell. Like, I mean, they're buying the hell out of that stuff. So, I own this and I own it through calls and I have some stock. I was hoping for a meltdown this morning. What I'm hoping for and what I'm getting are two different things, man. So probably not. Probably not getting involved anymore until it really gets whacked. I'm going to be long and strong doing earnings, which is not something I normally do. And I think they're in the morning too, right? So let's find out when those earnings are. I don't know if we can do stuff together. I like the NBIS. I own that. I don't know if today's going to be a great day for it. To me, it seems like they're going to want to kill things this morning, which is fine by me. But let's go take a look at that AEO. I'll get you an exact date since we brought it up. I think 4:00 tomorrow night. So I have all day tomorrow to buy too. But I do like that. Yay. I do think that the market does get affected by liquidity issues. Yeah. Thank you for the money. I'll make sure it goes to St. Jude's. I do think the market is being affected by liquidity issues. I actually felt really, really dumb on Friday because I believed that we were ready to run, and instead of shorting more MSTR through like MSTY, I'm constantly short this MSTY thing, but I thought MSTR could rally on that news. Instead, it ran right to its call wall and just imploded. Which happens, but like that's the call wall. It hit the call wall and just imploded. And as soon as it did that, I'm like, crap. Do I think you could use, let's make sure I get this right. I think liquidity, yeah. There's definitely a liquidity correlation between that for retail, 100%. I think it's decoupled a lot. I think you're seeing a huge decoupling. So I'll show you what I mean by this. So here's Bitcoin, and then here's the Qs. And people are like, oh, the Qs have to follow Bitcoin. They really, really don't have to follow Bitcoin. Like if you look at it, we're hitting highs in here and Bitcoin's dropping. So there's this dichotomy here. I'll do it this way so you can see it, where, let me just clean this back to a plane. Cool. And then we'll go here and drop the Qs in. Cool. And let's just get this all set so that I can show you what I'm talking about. So if we look at the market as a whole, right, you're going to go through periods of time when this obviously imploded. And so if I go here, and that's going to be July 24, it should mark me here. It's not marking them at the same time. I don't know why. It links usually. So July 24, you can see like you're down here and you're falling apart. And then you can see July 24, you're taking out highs. It doesn't need to correlate. This idea that the correlation is exact, it's just not accurate. So what you'll see is even here where you're like, here's January 21st, and then you're coming here and just like, wow, it really didn't correlate in there, right? And then of course you fell down. Thanks, John. And then of course you fell down, and then you mark that April 8th, and since then you bounced up, and then blah, 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 right? Okay. I just don't see it that way. I don't know that you have to follow the correlation of this. There's a lot of froth and a lot of like speculative buying that went into Bitcoin and Ethereum with all those stupid like treasuries where people didn't like, people were literally, I'm going to sound like an old man shaking his hand at the cloud again. But like when people were buying this stuff, did you really think it was going to go on forever? Like they're taking worthless paper and they're shoving something that has value into it. Once that ceased, the demand for Bitcoin and Ethereum dropped off a cliff. If you follow the volumes, you can see it, right? And you'll see that with like Ethereum too. I'll just do this one, ETHA, right? You'll see it. So the volumes just fell off a cliff. Like as soon as this stuff couldn't jam anymore down everyone's gullet. So this is where I think this all goes. I personally think either SBET or BMNR goes to zero because of the amount of redemptions that they're going to get. They're just going to have to keep selling. And the CEOs and these people are not going to work for free, right? So like you have to figure out what the expense ratio is really what their cost is that they're taking out in salary, for lack of a better term, and to run the whole thing. So if you can figure out what it costs for them to run the entire operation, you'll figure out how much time you have left before these things go to zero. I think that's why ETHZ was getting ahead of it and saying every time our NAV drops to below 1, we're going to sell Ethereum and we're going to buy our stock back, because they know that eventually at least they'll be left with something where the other ones aren't going to be left with anything. That's where my head is with it. So what does that mean for the Bitcoin thing that you're talking about? It means to me that there is a massive decoupling between that and the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ doesn't have the same supply and demand issues that Bitcoin had and Ethereum had. And until that stuff all unwinds, I think that decoupling stands. So that's my position on it. And that's why you're seeing this decoupling. So hopefully that makes sense to you, brother. But I wouldn't short the market because Bitcoin's dropping. Yeah, but whenever we know, Tariq, whenever we know what the problem is, it's not the problem, right? Whenever we know the problem, it's not the problem. What's up, Ed? What's up, Journal? What's going on, William? I don't know. I don't really care. Okay. I mean, like all of a sudden we're all Japan carry trade experts again. You know what I mean? This is what it did last time. So you have to remember, like if you go back and look, the reason that everyone got scared here is because we were also this. If you go back and look at your CPI prints, you had a print in here that was negative CPI month over month. You don't have that anymore. So yeah, I get it. Yeah. Okay. But that's not this. So I'm not overly worried about it. I like Wolf. No, I don't really view it that way. I don't really view like, oh, it's late volume, so it doesn't matter. Well, it's late volume. It could have gone down. It didn't go down. It went up. I think he takes the company over. At what price? I have no idea. I own it. When he takes the company over, it'll go. Ooh, maybe I'll use Scandal. Thanks. There you go. All right, guys, get ready to see the word scandal over and over again. I've had them doing it, dude. I have had them doing it. And sometimes I'll compete them against like Claude and some of the others. I will do it. Yeah, I agree, dude. I agree, Jacob. So it's definitely a very different trade here. I think the open is going to be brutal because of the 5-day moving averages are up to 95% or 91, and then it sells down and then it resets a day or two later, and you get like a turnaround Tuesday. Unless you get more news, unless there's some like big piece of news out there, but I don't see it. So to me, I'm like very happy that stuff's bidding down because it gives me opportunity to add. But that's where my head is. You know, we'll see how this goes. What time is it? 9. I'm gonna have to jump. I like KSS. I own it. Oil, I'm not going near, but I would think down, not up. SMI, ACI, I don't care about. Taiwan Semi super interesting, isn't it? What's up, Troy? I like this trade a lot. I like that you're gapping under the 55, and then let me just do this. It'll remind me to do the trade. Bum, 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 bum. I'll just throw that out there so it reminds me. I like this trade. I like that this thing's bidding down, and I think it's going to bid down. And then what I think it's going to do, I'm hoping it closes over the 55 again. And if not, then I'd kick it. I don't want to own stuff under the 55, but man, there's a lot of reasons to own this here. Like a lot. So let's get rid of the pre and the post. So you coming back, gap fill, and then go. That's like a dream. That's like perfect. No, far from it. I think people really need to look into that name. Yeah, I think so too, man. Yeah, I can. I'll post them somewhere. I'm going to find a way to post them on. Just follow me on that. I'll find a way to start posting them. Volume profile. It's anchored. I was freezing. I think we're making a reversal. Okay, cool. Everyone say goodbye. What's your name? I gotta take these off so I can say it. All right, everyone say goodbye to Robo. Bye, Robo. Is that the good mic? I don't know. If it's not the good mic, blame John. No, that's the good mic. I just don't think it's close enough. Good morning from Vancouver. Good morning from Miami. We have a lot of people from Vancouver up there. It's so beautiful up there, man. Just going through these real quick, seeing if I missed anything. Yeah, I was looking at this the other day. Imagine getting up early because I'm like, I'm gonna hit him with a zinger this morning. What is wrong with you people? I was looking at this. I, I think it's pretty interesting how you didn't take out the higher high. I like when they don't take out the higher high. Right? Because that means they're not really looking for supply. They're not really looking for like or I should say, they're not really looking for demand. So I like when they do this because they're looking for demand, like the undercut, like, oh, you better get out. Like anyone that's looking at this chart, like what would you have thought? Continue. Okay. I don't know why it does this to me. It's like all of a sudden these new functions. I don't want your new functions. Just leave. If you could not give me your new functions and just give me the old functions, start new, man. Why would I want to start the same spot? So like anyone that's looking at that chart, what are they going to do? They're going to puke it, right? I'd be like, oh man, I got to get out. You opened right on the neckline. You opened right at the breakout. Like I got to go. You're breaking, all these levels and then you watch it play out. Right. And then what's it do? So you have a failed, break. I kind of like it. I don't know that I want to be involved here because of its positioning, but I do kind of like stuff that does that. I'm just going through this real super quick, guys, because I got to jump. What's up, Kev? NBIS I like a lot. Good morning. NVIDIA, you're going to have gross margins issues. They'll figure it out, but you're going to have gross margins issues. I think that's coming. What's up, Mon? I think you're just going to have gross margins issues coming in there. BE. Yeah, everyone's kind of like obsessed with volume. Like everyone's a volume expert. I think anything, like here's where my head is with these kinds of trades. Anybody that is breaking out, right, and you're above the 55, that means you have institutional support. This is how I look at the world. I'll just save you 30 seconds. So if I'm above the 55, I have institutional support. If I'm above the 12, I can swing it. If I'm below this 12, I really shouldn't swing it. If it's below the 22, the bears are in charge. So if I looked at this, I would say I have institutional support. I can swing it, but I got to be careful because the bears are still in charge, right? That's like how I come up with 10 seconds and like look at them. Anything that's breaking above the 55, if it rejects, it's perfect because then it's telling you you don't have to be in it. So from a long-term perspective, like you bidding down $3 and wanting to be in it, and then just knowing that, oh, if I close under that 55, I'm out. Like if you like the name and realize, like let's say you're trying to swing it, right? And you're like, all right, so I have a $5 stop, but I could be in it for the next year. Like it's almost a no-brainer, right? BE came in hard because of what? Because of the uranium. It shouldn't have, but it did. So that's kind of how I look at it. But yeah, Mon, you gotta realize, or Grace, I'm sorry. So AVGO is going to put pressure on NVIDIA's gross margins. That's why it's doing what it's doing. It is what it is. But that's going to be a shock to the stock when it happens, I think. So, all right, I got to jump, guys, super late. Trade to win. Make good choices.